What's up, everybody, and welcome to One Man's Opinion. And today we're talking about Paranormal Activity, 2007 film starring Kate Featherston and Mika Sloat. And the reason I'm doing Paranormal Activity is I spend a lot of time in the month of October talking about slasher films, and I felt like, and since I have the Friday the 13th ranking coming up at the end of the month, I thought instead of doing too many slashers and getting too carried away into that genre, I wanted to do something a little bit more on the paranormal side. And what better than Paranormal Activity? When Paranormal Activity came out in 2007, it became probably the most iconic found footage film since The Blair Witch. Now, whether or not you like The Blair Witch or you like found footage movies in general is one thing, but I would say, and I've said this before about a few other movies, Paranormal Activity is a movie that you need to give a shot to, even if you don't particularly care for the found footage genre. And I understand people's complaints with found footage. I understand that sometimes it can come off a little bit cheap. You don't need a whole lot of effects to, slam doors and, throw cups across a kitchen, which is stuff that happens a lot in these movies. But if the movie executes well, if the characters are realistic, if it does an adequate job keeping you on the edge of your seat, building tension and scares, then I would say that it's done its job no matter what offshoot genre that it may come from. And while I'm not personally the biggest fan of found footage, and I know I've said that a few times and I always follow it up, but with this film, I like it a lot. And that's because most of the found footage films that I've reviewed on this channel have been ones that I actually like. So it may seem to kind of undercut my point a little bit when I say that I don't actually care for the genre all that much. I really don't. But it just so happens that this one I think is really good. Paranormal Activity gets a little bit of crap because it is found footage, because people do think they're cheap made. But I don't really understand that. What does it matter the budget of a film as long as it does what it sets out to do, which is to tell a horrific story, to tell a scary story, and to tell it well and to keep you scared and on the edge of your seat and that sort of thing, then I think that's all that matters. Typically in these things, I start with the negatives. We're not going to do that today. I'm just going to talk about the movie a little bit at large, and then I will tell you the negatives that I found with this movie. First of all, Kate and Mika are really good in this film. If you want to talk about two realistic characters, people that seem like they are actually could be a couple in real life, their chemistry in this movie is good. And I think some of that goes to the credit of the direction of this film. The director, Oren Peli, and I probably am messing that name up a little bit, but he gave the actors a lot of leadway to sort of flesh out their characters on their own. Essentially, he would tell them, hey, this is where we want the scene to go, get there. Do it how you think that they should do it, or how you think the characters would do it. And so the actors were able to flesh out their characters. They were able to act and make decisions in real time while the camera was rolling and react to what the other was saying and doing. So that way it felt more organic. It wasn't a script. There wasn't a hard script. There was just, this is where we need this scene to get. You two play off of each other until we get there. And I think they did an excellent job. And I think that that's credit to the director to put faith in his actors, to bring these characters to life in such a realistic way, and I think it's executed very well. So credit to the actors and the director for that. As far as visually, there's not a whole lot to talk about in this film because a lot of it is smaller scale. You're not going to have any huge prosthetics, practical effects, things like that. You're not going to need just a whole lot of that like you would in a slasher, because the majority of the things that happen in this movie are it's more slow build. It's very much start small, gradually increase until the climactic finale. And I think that works really, really well for this film. To its credit, I think it does an excellent job building the tension. I think it does an excellent job telling the story. I think because of the characters that it really brings you in. You're invested in the people in the movie. They all seem very real, very likable people. And then as it goes and things spiral out of control more and more, you find yourself rooting for them and wondering how they're going to get out of this impossible situation that they're in all the way up until the very end. The real question for any horror movie is it scary? I think, yeah, I think it is. I think anybody if you watch horror movies a lot, it may not bother you a whole lot, but I would say even for moderate horror movie fans, there are some moments that are going to get you in this movie. Personally, as a guy who watches a lot of horror movies, it kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I didn't watch it when it came out. I never got the chance to really see it, to be honest with you. I had the feeling that it would bother me when I was younger. So I kind of stayed away from it. I kind of avoided this movie. So having just watched it now as an adult for the first time, I can tell you that it kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. It's very engaging. It really draws you in. It does an excellent job. And once you're in, and once it has you on the edge of your seat, those jump scare moments are impactful. Not a guy who's huge on jump scares, but I think that they're done in a necessary way with this kind of haunted house, loose, I wouldn't use the word possession, more just demonic entity sort of film that eventually ends in sort of a possession. So I think it has the scares. I think it has the characters. I think it has the story. I think it pretty much has everything that you could want in a scary movie. And as a matter of fact, to be completely honest with you, as I watched this movie and the movie came to its finish, I thought it was a darn near perfect film. And that's the truth. I really, really thought that it was executed just about as well as you could. The scares are good. The tension is good. Everything across the board for me were green lights. It was solid. I really, really liked it. And then the ending. And the ending is this crescendo to all this tension. And it's done great. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to bag on the end. I am, but not maybe in the way that you think I would. I think it's executed very, very well. All the way up until Micah's final shout. I even like him getting thrown at the camera at the end. I like every single bit of it. The very last second of the film, when she does the camera thing and she looks and she's got like the demonic face, that's where you lost it for me. It was so good. The tension, even as she stood there at the end of the film and you weren't sure what was going to happen, it should have ended with that high tension, with that eerie, oh my goodness, the yelling, the screaming. If you watch this movie by yourself in a dark house at night, I think you'd get scared. I do. I'm just going to say it. Most people, not everybody, some people handle it better than others. I think you get scared if you watch this by yourself in a house at night, lights off, all that thing, start to finish, get on the edge of your seat, get your popcorn ready. I think it's a great movie. In the last second, we don't need to see that. I don't know if the thought was, hey, let's get them with one last final scare right here at the end. I don't know if the thought was, oh, they're going to want to see the demon. They're going to want to see some solid picture, even if it's a part of her or however we want to do it. They want to, our viewers are going to want to see something by the end. No, because what happens is you had all that tension and you had that crescendo in this big moment at the end. And then, when Micah hits the camera, that's another huge scare. And then she's just standing there and your heart's like pounding and you're just like, oh, I can't believe that happened. And literally, as I'm watching the movie, that's where I am. I'm like, just wide-eyed. And then that thing happens at the end where she's like, at the camera. And it's like, oh, that was so cheesy. No, and I literally said out loud when the credits rolled, as soon as that hits and the movie goes black and it's over, I said, no, because it was perfect. You should have just ended it there. It should have been over right there. It was perfect. And then you had to throw that in and you shouldn't have. I know it feels like you need something like that at the end of the movie, but you don't, especially with a film, and I don't know if they knew this at the time, but a film that ended up getting so many more sequels, a cliffhanger ending is fine, where she's just kind of looking at the camera. It's like, oh, that's where it ends? Yeah, that's where it ends. That's where it should have ended, even if there hadn't have been any sequels. That's where it should have ended. It should not have had that goofy little face thing at the end. I hated it. And it didn't ruin the movie for me. No. It wasn't something that's going to be like, oh, that took the movie from all the way up here and all the way down there. No, but it took it from being close to perfect horror movie. Darn close to perfect. This was there, and the last frame of the movie just took it down a notch. Having said all that, I do think it's an excellent film. I would certainly recommend it to anybody who likes horror movies and is looking for a good scare this Halloween. Go give it a watch. Enjoy it. It's really, really, really good. And that's why I'm giving Paranormal Activity a 97 overall. All right. Well, what did you think about Paranormal Activity the first time you saw it? Have you seen it? If you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. Give it a watch, come back, and then watch this review and tell me what you thought. Did you agree with my analysis of the film? Maybe you didn't like it. Maybe you thought Paranormal Activity was a bad movie. Maybe you thought this review was a bad review. Let me know down in the comments below. Just don't get mad about it. Remember that this is all just one man's opinion. Thanks.